Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Am Christina DiArcangelo. Today, I have a very special guest on, especially since it's Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May, Tara Aytes. Tara, thank you so much for joining our show today. Would you mind introducing yourself to everyone and telling everyone a little bit about yourself?
Not at all. And thank you for having me, of course. My name is Tara Aytes. I currently live in upstate New York. I'm a New Yorker through and through, born here, raised here. I now live past some cows. I'm in a more rural area. I escaped COVID, I'll say, in New York City after being in the heart of it when everything was shut down. Had just made a huge life transition pre-COVID, I'll say, right at the end of 2019, where I got really focused on my mental health, on my physical health, and my spiritual health. And that's how I had came up with my kooky company called 30-Day Lifestyles, because I would do these rotating 30-day challenges, focusing on your mental, your physical, and your spiritual self. So it got me into, doing everything from meditations, affirmations, hardcore, even push-ups, and doing a month where I'm doing jumping jacks for 2 minutes, but anything to move your energy, shift your life. From there, I went on a whole entrepreneurial journey, I would say, transitioning through and from COVID employment ultimatums, for lack of a better way of putting it, because nobody had a pandemic plan when those things happened. At that time, I was a single mom. I know that we've mentioned that you're a single mom as well. My daughter was 5 at the time, and she wasn't in school. It was like childcare, if that makes sense, pre-kindergarten. So like whatever the P3, P4, that K stuff. I'm a first-time mom, so I'm not fully embedded with all the verbiage of mom life yet, but she's thriving. She was 5 at the time, and daycare shut down. It was like a Sunday night, and I'm like panicked. I'm like, what the heck am I going to do for her? Because at that time, her dad and I were separated. I'm working, I'm a working single mom, and childcare shuts down on a Sunday. Like de Blasio couldn't tell you, like Saturday, give us some preparation time. So anyway, I'm panicked now. So the only thing I could think in my 40-year-old mind is, what the hell am I going to do? And I called my mom. I'm like, thank God, all she said was, well, what do you need from me? I'm like, can you watch, Mini Me? I referred her, online. And she's just like, all right, you just got to bring her to me. So I'm like, mind you, I work at 8 o'clock typically on a morning on a Monday through Friday. And this is like a Sunday evening. So I call my mom's younger sister, who's my aunt, one of my best aunts. She's like my best friend, also my daughter's godmother. She's like, well, I'll ride with you. I know you're going to be tired. I'm like, okay. So we pack a bag. We make the dash to Maryland. I get back at, I don't know, maybe 2, 3 in the morning. I show up at work and I'm like, guys, what is the plan? What is the plan exactly? Because I can't leave. I'm not leaving her there indefinitely.
No.
She's, but I needed a place where I'm comfortable for her to be at, but therefore me still needing to, take care of our responsibilities. I have to show up for work. I'm a single mom. It's our finances. This is our income source at the moment. I'm like, oh man, it was intense, for lack of a better way of putting it. From there, I was again doing those challenges from like December. This is like March. So I bumped into Jesse Ecker on my Facebook feed. I don't even know how he came up my feed, but through Jesse Ecker, who's T. Harv Ecker's son, I was introduced into this program called KBB, Knowledge Broker Program. And he was an affiliate at the time. It was for Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi. From that community, it just sparked something in me, because they're going to give me the freedom or the ability to have the life that I want to give to my daughter. And I don't want her to see that, okay, mommy's working all the time, mommy doesn't have time for me, and now I'm with strangers or a childcare provider, or just because of the amount of time that a 9 to 5 would typically require. So the seeds in my brain start, formulating and percolating and sprouting. Okay, well, how do I make this transition? How do I escape? And at that time, I still had not had a formula or a recipe. It's just this desire in my heart that knows I have to change this at any means and whatever I got to do to sacrifice me, I've just got to get out of this world, out of this tornado, out of this rat race, because that's what it becomes. And it becomes an illusion of security, which really is no security at all, because at a moment, if there's a layoff, if there's a fire, if there's some type of shutdown in the economy, your one source, if that's your only source of income, is shut down. How do you keep the lights on? How do you keep the roof over your head? How do you put the food in the fridge, the healthy food, not the crap that they give away, but how do you fill your body and your spirit and your mind? And then at the same time, you're raising and grooming this beautiful spirit, and you're going to eventually have to unleash her into the world.
Right.
So I've got all these things in my brain, and
it's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, but I'm a New Yorker. I guess you're built for it, so to speak. It led to me then doing unlimited Reiki in that KDB community, and I know that at that time, and Reiki is one of my modalities that I do practice. It's 100% holistic. I'm 100% certified Usei Reiki master, but it is completely non-harmful. It's completely the ability to send healing energy, whether it's in person, whether it's virtually, whether it's hands-on, whether it's hands-off. But I had an amazing opportunity to have my being infused for like a week long from a woman that offered it from the UK. And to say the least, I felt like I was like floating and vibrating on my magic carpet. And I'm like, I've got to learn how to do this so I can make sure I feel like this whenever I need to or whenever I want to. And so I can help my being, because with all that pressure, as you mentioned, you've got the anxiety, you've got the stress, you've got the thoughts in your brain, you're not sleeping. How do I get myself out of this state and change my reality? Had a few other, I'll say, bumps along the road of that 2020 year now that we're into with COVID. I ended up losing both my grandmas back to back from June to August. But I know in my heart that because I was vibrating so high, it helped me deal with the grief that was coming along that I didn't know at that time. And that's how I was able to not be completely destroyed, if that resonates with because I've had both my grandmas since I'm like a baby. I'm in my 40s now. So, and they're, especially like my mom's mom, she was at my house every weekend. Like, I know how to cook so many things because of her, and just such a wealth and such a beautiful spirit. But I still know she's with me. I believe she's somewhat here helping me invisibly propel as I continue through life and just move some of the obstacles and challenges that come up as they do come up in life.
I believe that once they've passed on, like, I lost my dad in 15, at age 62. I just lost my brother at 43 from COVID in January. So I don't have any of my male figures in my life that I grew up with anymore. Everybody's gone. And I know what you mean about all of those things, because I believe that when people cross over, they're even more powerful than they were in the human form, and that they do help us, and they communicate with us in a manner that's fitting to the relationship that you've had with them while they were here physically on Earth. So that resonates with me. I get it. Like I completely, and the loss and the grief aspect. And, I don't know if this happened to you, Tara, but, when I lost my dad and then my brother, and I've lost people in between. My dad's eldest brother died in 18, and I helped him pass through my advocacy firm. It was like I relived it again when my father passed away, because he was very similar to my father, similar but different in many ways. But at the end of his life, it was like I was with my father, and my father was there with him when he passed, and my grandparents were from my mom's side. They were there too. So it's very interesting to see what happens. But one of the things that people say is, oh, it'll get easier. It's going to get better. They say this all the time to us. And then it's when they lose someone near and dear to their hearts, the switch flips.
The light bulb turns on, because that's such a cliche response, but it's not, it's never what anybody wants to hear when they're in that moment and they're feeling that pain. So I think the best thing to say is, I know it hurts, and I'm here if you need an ear, because that's really what, a person that's grieving can benefit from. Don't, try to placate them and try to get them to shut up. They should express that, because by expressing it, they're letting out those energies. And I'm all about releasing, negative energy and healing and uplifting your vibration. And even speaking to those that we've lost, you can call on your ancestors, you can speak to the spirits, you can speak to your God, like they hear you on the other side. So why not speak to them? You're going to eventually get where they're at, hopefully. So it's to your best advantage. And even if it didn't work, which I know and I believe 100% that it does, but even if it didn't, it still will make you feel better. It'll get you out of that negative energy in that space. Because if you're vibrating below a level of 200, and grief is among those frequencies, such as anger, such as hate, that is below that. And that's based on kinesiology. That's David Hawkins. That's power versus force. Like, there's a measurement of the emotions. And anytime you're vibrating below 200, you are, unbeknownst to yourself, self-sabotaging yourself. It's only when you can raise and get to the point of courage and hope and love that you can transmute negative energy and start to then attracting the positive and more into like manifesting and, visualization and creating your reality and shifting your reality. But it so starts from your mind. And sometimes we get paralyzed and trapped. And that's what anxiety and that's what stress does for you, playing it and thinking it. But by thinking it, remember, your thoughts have a feeling. There's an emotional charge. So when you think about something, you start to feel it. So the best technique and the best tip I like to share is, start monitoring your thoughts. Start monitoring your think about, because when you're monitoring it, then you're paying attention to what you're thinking, and then you can start to shift it and change it and start introduce, higher thinking, higher vibrations. Give yourself some positive affirmations, because what you think, you're going to feel. And again, that's how you start to free yourself and shift yourself from being in that low vibrational, grief, anger, hate, all those negative emotions you need to let release. And sometimes those emotions are just out there in the energy, out there in the world. So sometimes you need to, also protect yourself. I wear a variety and assortment of paraphernalia that's, heaven made. And I say sent to the earth, that I utilize to create energetic protections for me, and to even take on attributes that I'm trying to add, to my being, and to help me to move forward.
Yeah, I do a lot of that. I didn't put on my necklaces today because I'll tell you what, girl, I was tired this morning. It's been a crazy ride. There's some stuff that's going on in my personal life. This 2022 has been a crazy year. It's been fantastic professionally so far, but personally, it's been kind of a bump.
Challenge, we'll say.
Yeah, there's been some bumps. I had the bump with my brother in January. Then I had something happen with my mom in March that I'll soon disclose when I can. What's going on with her.
It's ongoing. Yeah, and I get it. And I'll send you some healing energy.
Thank you.
It works. I believe.
I believe. And it's funny that you're talking about this paradigm shift on your thought process, because that's something that, for me, when it's personal stuff, I'm emotionally charged, invested. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. When it's business, right? And I want us to be successful, and I'm an empathetic, service-oriented leader. So I wear my heart on my sleeve, right? But when it's business, it's different. So for me, business, I just do my things. I get it done. I'm happy. I'm in a good zone all the time, even when things don't always go to what you think is going to happen. When you hit a bump in the road.
Unexpectedness of being an entrepreneur. So
right.
It's no roadmap, but as long as you're flexible, like you're saying, you know what I mean? You ride the wave, and
that's right.
You stay above water, you're thriving, you're in the sunshine. It feels good.
That's right. And then with personal, for me, it's more challenging with matters of the heart for me to navigate, because I take stuff so personally, like it's so upsetting when things like this happen, and it's like, oh my God. So what I've been called to my attention, the past couple of days, was that changing my perception, removing my emotions from it, and handling it
will help free you. Yeah, and even not even free you, but it'll help you to navigate through it, because some things are meant for us to feel, because just because you feel something, it's not always bad. Sometimes it's there to get our attention. Sometimes it's to get us to appreciate, you know what I mean? Because
That's right.
if we're looking at the parallel worlds that we're in, and are up here in business, but you're ignoring and not necessarily paying attention to the family. So if you can pay attention to the family and give them some of that healing love, and maybe this bump in the road is just to, hey, we're getting older. Our parents get older. I know my parents are in the 70s. I want to make sure that I'm spending some time with them. I haven't seen them in, a few months. I want to make sure that my daughter gets their energy, because as I get older, they're getting older.
Yes.
And nothing is guaranteed. Enjoy the good stuff. Maybe take some walks with them, plant some flowers with them. Just give them some of your goodness. And that's how we keep the older generation, I feel, healthy, thriving, and alive. Because if they're just sitting there withering away and everyone's ignoring them, then who's pouring into them? And they've already poured into us,
all of us,
and the previous generations their whole lives. So now they need a little bit more pouring into, because they are in their golden ages, we'll say. So again, those things we feel aren't always a negative. Sometimes just there to get us to shift our attention and focus our energy, because energy and attention is how we can generate and create more energy. It's the only way.
And sometimes
it's going on forever.
No, it's okay. I love it. And sometimes I think it's karmic, right? And so like in my sense of what's going on right now, I believe it's karmic, because it's clearing its pathway for me to move forward even more in my greatness. So although right now it's tough, I know where I'm going. I know why this is happening. It's to clear my path, clear my slate, and go. And so that's what I'm being patient about. But I had to shift my energy because it's been tiring me, because I'm an intuitive also. So I feel everything, and I try to shield myself from some of the stuff. And it's not always easy when it's someone that's very close to you. It's hard.
When you love them. Oh, it's when we have to combine our professional and personal abilities, because if we're so emotionally entangled in the circumstance, and sometimes because of our emotions, they remove our logic, because we're not thinking, we're feeling more than we are thinking. Anger cuts off thinking in a heartbeat. So same thing, any type of pain or turmoil is going to stop that logical side of our brain. So we just want to try to balance them both a little bit. Just balance them and play with them, because you want to feel, but you just don't want to be so entangled in the emotions that you are depleted, as it sounds like you're getting a little bit drained, because of course you're heavily invested. So you just throw some more self-care into you.
Yep. Well, I'm going to the Outer Banks this weekend for my sister-in-law's wedding. So I'm really excited,
sounds nice.
And I need to be, I'm a water sign. So is my son. So I'm just so looking forward to getting down there and just sitting in the sunlight and, smell the salt air, watch the ocean go back and forth, and just like get myself in a zone where, crown down, I'm aligned again.
Absolutely. And plant your feet in the earth,
yes.
Let the healing energy and tell, not tell, I should never say tell, but, say, ask. Mother Earth, send me your healing energy, please travel through my toes, go up my legs, replenish me, because I'm feeling depleted right now. I love to spend time in nature, even listening to nature, but the water signs of water earth, like even just listening to the water, even if you can't put your feet and your body in it, you're just hearing it. It's so soothing. Like it'll put me to sleep, just like a car puts a baby to sleep. Like
me
I'll
too.
just pass out.
Yes, me too. I listen to it every night to go to sleep. There's a certain meditation that I have on my phone, and it has singing bowls, and I just love singing bowls for the vibration energy shift. I love that.
I was going to tell you, I listen to sound bowls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I play them. I have like 2 sets.
Yes.
I've been trying to teach my girls how to play them. They're amazing.
I love them. I have like 3 of them now, but I want to keep building in the set, because I love them, and it always makes me feel better when I hear them. So I just have to reconnect myself, with what I usually do. It's just been there's just been so much stuff. Like it's just like a movie. Like, I can't even.
When it's going on, it's going on. No,
Yeah.
no. When it happens, I get it. It's happening. So
Yes.
no, yeah. Maybe take them with you when you go to the wedding, and maybe while outside, the air, you can multitask and out there enjoying the piece.
Yes, that sounds amazing. Well, I thank you so much for coming up on our time. As I'm sure you could imagine, we went a little bit over, but that's okay. I was having such a nice chat with you, and I thank you so much for coming on today.
My pleasure.
So, as we always say in every one of our shows, remember, we are the same. I am Christina DiArcangelo. Thank you.